Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my Summer Lunch and Learn series. I'm Helen Panos. I am the owner of Dynamis Learning. It's a K through 12 tutoring, SAT, ACT prep company. We do college essay writing and college application assistance now, and helping with the governor's honors program because that's quite a feat, apparently. So I do have a tutor that actually was a judge for that program, so she knows it very well. So if your child is entering the governor's honors, this is about the time to be looking at that because they pick them in the fall. But I have a guest this week, and her name is Dr. Candace Holmes. Welcome, Dr. Holmes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Helen.
Oh, you're welcome. I know I love this topic because it's important. And being a former 504 chair myself, I know parents come into meetings and they always say, I don't know what to do with my child. They can't take medicine or for ADHD, or it makes them not want to eat, or they can't sleep, or I've heard it all. And so there's other things that parents can be doing and they may not know about neurofeedback. So I'm glad you've written a book. All right.
Yay. Yes, I've written a book.
Show everybody your book. Yes, and it's number 4 on
Number
the
4 on the
bestseller
bestsellers
list.
list. Yes, yes.
Yes, on Amazon, and then I'll have the links on there so people can purchase it later. But she is the CEO of and the Natural Brain Transformation Specialist. She is with Brain Core of Duluth. So welcome again.
Thank you.
And I am going to let you start by just saying a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll go into a couple, 2, 3 questions.
Sure. So, as Helen said, I'm a natural brain transformation specialist here at Brain Core of Duluth in Georgia. I have a therapy that helps to retrain how the brain functions, and it's non-invasive and drug-free. It did wonders for my daughter who was struggling in school, and now she is a rising junior in college, and she's been on the president's list and the dean's list time after time after using the therapy that I have. So I'm just here to just share what an option could be.
Awesome. So, what are some of the most common academic challenges since we're about to go back to school? I mean, here in Atlanta, in
Yes.
Georgia,
Mhm.
it's August 1 and August 5th. I was just up in Gwinnett, so I know they're coming back here soon. So, what are some? And a bunch of teachers were there, by the way, for Gwinnett's teacher, I guess, bringing them back Impact Day. But
Yes.
what are some of the most common academic challenges that neurofeedback can address?
Goodness, it's quite a few. I get a lot of get a lot of parents concerned with their children being unable to focus and concentrate. So their attention spans are short. Just as a nation, I'm sure as a world, I should say, they're short. So especially when it comes to school, and then also organization is a challenge, and getting those projects together and even completing them. So I have patients who completed the projects, but they don't turn them in. So that's part of executive functioning. And then you also
Yes.
have those who are highly gifted, however, they get bored. So then, that plays a part too into they're completing the work, but just not turning it in, or they daydream because they've already completed the assignment and now they're thinking about something else, and it may not be, what that teacher wants them to think about at that time. So
Mhm.
it varies. It varies. So quite a few.
Yeah, because when I was just being interviewed, Dr. Holmes, they were asking me about how do you help get over these kids that are bored, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, there's ways.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Lots of ways. Lots of ways. I know when we
Yeah.
were growing up, I always had to have a book to read. And typically when I was a substitute teacher for 4 years in a middle school, and books were always required in those gifted classes, that in case they finished the assignment, then there was something for them to read. And then two, differentiated instruction. So, maybe have something else, a bonus, or, extra credit or something that
Mhm.
they can do. There are ways, definitely ways to keep.
Yeah. And as you said, ADHD is really still, I think, the number one probably diagnosis out there. Anxiety is coming up pretty quickly. So I know neurofeedback can help with anxiety too, right?
Absolutely.
Test anxiety. Yep.
Exactly.
All kinds
Exactly.
of anxiety
All
probably, right?
time.
Now
General.
you do adults as well, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I
so
wanted
from say that
I wanted to mention that because a lot of ADHD does come typically from a parent.
exactly. I'll go over the report with a parent, and they'll say, "Wait a minute, I do that. Wait a minute, I do that," and I just go,
And people
"Where
our
do you think they
age
got it from?"
group probably, somebody was just asking me that too. Well, were we all like this, you think? And I said, I think so, but I think social media and computers and things like that have probably kind of amplified it a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
And he goes, "Do you think that people learned how to deal with it back in the day?" I said, "Yeah, things were a little more slower paced as well."
Absolutely. And we
So
went outside for
now,
pizza.
so
We went
now
outside for
you've
pizza.
got neurofeedback. Yeah, you got medication, but then a lot of parents don't want to go that route,
No,
right?
I know I
So
didn't. I
I
didn't.
know we have a child up in Milton who's tried 4 different drugs, and none of them have worked for him. So
Body
yeah,
isn't made for
I
drugs.
plan on actually telling her about your book.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, that's my whole mission, is to just let people know there are other options out there that don't include medications, that are, natural and safe and effective. And because with neurofeedback, the results can last up to 30 years and in some cases up to 50. So, I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Right. And can you share, I'm sure you have plenty of success stories because I love it when people ask me this question. So can you share a good or your favorite success story from your practice where a student experienced significant academic improvement through neurofeedback therapy?
Sure. It's this example is also my book. I call it a case story instead of a case study. So I had a young man, he was at a very prestigious local Atlanta school, and he was failing every subject except for PE. And his mom called and said, "Oh my gosh," said, "my husband says that we're going to take him out of school because he's not performing. So if I'm doing my job and he's not doing his, why are we paying for this?" And so she said, "I don't, we have to do something." And so she called me and we went through the process, and her son was diagnosed with ADHD. And I asked her, said, "Well, is there any family history?" And she said, "Well, I think my husband's undiagnosed." And I was like, I get that a lot often. So came in and he was doing the therapy. And this is when we just had it in the office at that time. And I would ask how things going, same. And then one day he came in, he said, "You know what, doc?" I said, "What?" He said, "I was in class." He said, and there was a math class, and the teacher was teaching the lesson. He said, "And I got it." He said, like the first time, it was like just everything was clear. He said, "I finished my schoolwork, my classwork." So then I was going around helping all my friends. And I said, "What did your teacher say?" He said, "What is it that you're doing? What's different?" He said, "Some brain core stuff." And he said, his teacher said, "Well, keep at it, keep at it." And so I followed up with him at the end of the school year, and because he finished his program before the school year was over, and I called his mom probably about a week later. I said, "Well, how did he do?" She said, "Well, he passed everything." I said, "Great." I said, "What did he get in math?" She said, "An 88." I said, "Oh, I want him to get an A," And I said, "I guess I'll." She said, "But my husband's very excited. We're all very happy." And she said, "Now, if I can just get him in there." And I said, "Hey, I'm here." Yes.
So some people may ask, how many visits or treatments does it take? Is that
Sure.
an individualized based on the person?
Sure, it's definitely individualized. I have a brain mapping, which is the basis for my recommendation, so that I'll know what the brain is what's going well and what's not going well. I call it like looking under the hood. Like I don't take my car into the mechanic and say, "Hey, how much is how long it's going to take, or how much if I don't know what I'm looking at." So same thing with that. So a typical person who's a straightforward case, they don't have any other issues going on in their bodies metabolically or hormonally. Around 30 sessions is when that change tends to happen, where the brain starts kicking in and making those changes. And even with that, with my programs, it's not a session by session basis. I have programs that are rentals that you have the unit for a specific amount of time. And so as many sessions as you can get in during that time, as many training sessions as you can complete, that's what you get. So it's totally based on, your effort and your commitment.
And how long is each session, would you say?
Each session is 30 minutes long. So
Oh, okay. Not very long.
an hour a day. No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Is this something where they have to come to you to do it?
So initially they come to me to get the brain mapping done, and then they'll get a unit to take home with them, which is on the laptop computer, or they can bring their own in and I can upload it to their system, and they do it at home. And then typically after about 4 to 6 weeks, they'll come back in, we'll do another brain mapping. The computer will compare it and we'll see, how well they're doing, if it's time to change to another protocol because they've mastered that one, or if we need to stay where we are a little longer. So that's what I love about it. I have objective findings to show, the progress that's been made.
Okay. Can neurofeedback therapy be used in conjunction with other treatments or educational strategies?
Absolutely. So tutoring, we have a lot of patients who, still have tutors. We have a lot of patients who have psychologists that they're working with, or counselors or therapists. Absolutely. I co-manage. My doctorate is in chiropractic. I stay in my lane. I always tell my patients, look, if you're in crisis, don't call me. I'll just say not to do that. I'm not trained there. So I have child psychologists that I work with. I have functional medicine doctors that I work with. I have naturopaths that I work with. I have psychologists. So yes, tutors. It runs the gamut. So definitely.
Okay, cool. So how would people reach you if they want to have a conversation about it? Because you're talking about, it's called neurofeedback and it's
Yes.
about the brain, so that might freak some people out. So they
Yeah, I
definitely
can
might
see
want, yeah, they that doesn't freak me out, but in case some people are thinking, oh no, I don't think so, and they're
Oh,
already taking themselves out of it,
sure.
before they actually reach out to you and
Sure.
just talk to you about it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have complimentary discovery calls, so they can contact me at bookwithdrh.com. And that's if you spell doctor out or drh.com, they both work. You can get to me. We have a conversation. You can ask all the questions. There's no obligation, no pressure. I just share what I know.
And what's your website?
My website is Brain Core of Duluth. So Brain Core, like an apple, of D as in dog, ULUTH.com.
Awesome. So, and the way they can get your book is through
Woo!
Amazon.
Amazon, or on my website, you can get an autographed copy. I will
Oh, there
personalize
you
it.
go. On
Personalize
the
it.
website. Perfect place.
And I have a book signing this Saturday too at Lily's Boutique in Sugar Hill, Georgia, if you're in the area from noon to 3. So you
Okay.
can come on out and get your copy there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Holmes, for joining me. I know we had a little technical issue,
Goodness
so we had
gracious.
to do it through Zoom, but
Yes,
it still
yes,
works. We
yes.
got all these different technology devices and tools to use, so
Grateful for it. Grateful that we have options for
I
sure.
know, isn't that true?
Mhm.
But I will have all those links, folks, for y'all on when I post this on Facebook. It's going to be on Instagram. It's going to be in various. Now that I've done it through Zoom, actually, I could probably put it on all my platforms.
Woo! There we go.
Normally on StreamYard, I can only do 3, so it'll
Oh,
be
I
on my
realize
YouTube
that.
and everywhere. So,
Might
yep,
be
look out
changing.
for it on your favorite platform, I should say.
There you go. There you go. Cover them all.
Thank you again, and I will be seeing you soon.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All
Yes,
righty.
very
Take
soon.
care. All
All right.
righty. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.